Hello, iZero here, and another episode of Amiga Vibes, and it's always as exciting to start the shows as the first time. Try to remember to set everything on and off and so on, so let's hope that everything goes well this time. The show name Back to Business Part 2. So I've been working for 2 weeks now after the summer vacations, and like usual, the autumn when the youngest kid goes to kindergarten, it's this time they took 3 days before she got sick, so that went well, but luckily only took like the weekend away, so didn't have to be away from work. But yeah, I was planning show. Well, thought that maybe I'll do this show last week, but the daughter getting ill and then decided to clean my sauna. I don't know what do I say that in English way? Sauna it is. So I took the benches out of the sauna and grinded all the dark parts and washed everything and took them back to sauna and oiled the benches. So it took the whole weekend, or actually more than that. So on. But yeah, the show started with the track that was Moondiver from PFP, and the track was Time Electrance Mix. And next in line, I have a track that I listened last week pretty much. I was listening to my Amiga Remix playlist on my phone one night, and then this came up, and I think I haven't really listened to this before, but I really liked it. So here comes ALPA with Enigma, final Hyperbuss to Motala. ALPA something Spaceninja remix. ALPA with Enigma, final Hyperbuss to Motala, ALPA's Spaceninja remix. And yeah, you can throw your requests from slay.radio/request and join the chat on Discord by going to slay.radio/Discord. Discord. Yeah. Yeah, about oiling the sauna benches. I haven't done that yet earlier. It's really about time to do so. When we bought the house, it was like 2 years or 3 years old, and the sauna was kind of dirty, so I pressure washed the benches, not immediately, but like next summer or something. And yeah, so I hadn't done that thing, the oiling, before, so I went to the store to get the paraffin-based oil, and there was like 1/4 liter jar, and then there was this 1 liter. I was thinking that is the smaller one enough? Might be that it's not enough, and I don't know. It's in your region, but at least here the pricing of the paints and things like that is so that if you buy the 1/4 liter, its price is half of the 1 liter jar. So if you buy the small ones, it's same to buy the bigger one. So yeah, I did buy the bigger one, but found out that even that wasn't enough. It took almost 2 liters. Well, I think I have something less than half liter left. So it was like when opening the jar, it was already half empty. Yeah, let's go to the requests, which I don't have too many yet. But first requester is FS. FS wanted to hear Mirko Hirsch with Follow the Sun. So let's play that. Mirko Hirsch and follow the sign, and it was requested by Eves. Thank you for that request. Yeah, apparently Lala has also done some painting and going to get them to dry. Replacement spindles for the deck. Is it like a skateboard or DJ deck or what? I didn't get that really. Yeah, and DK is asking, is he the only one on the Discord? And yeah, it seems that it's a bit slow tonight in chat and also in the request, but we do have some now. So it was the second week at the work this week, and on Tuesday we got a announcement about cooperation negotiations. So sadly, someone's are going to leave the company at some point, and I was a bit worried because the current project where I'm working is now ending and didn't have a next one yet lined up. But on Wednesday I had an interview for a client, and on Friday got information that I was part of the team that got the assignment. So better a situation for that. And also the second week of work meant that we started our floorball season. Well, it's not our company. What is it? Well, there's like I'm only one from our company, but I'm arranging a floorball hour on every Monday, and there was people, old guys from different companies, and just playing, getting the sweat up. Yeah, it's always nice the first time after the summer vacations when you haven't run like at all during the summer, then run like hell for 1 hour, so it gets you quite well in the evening. But yeah, it's fun. Apparently also good for you to move a bit. Let's see. Next request, it's by unknown user, and the request is Harlequin Title Tune by Proton. So let's listen to that. Proton and Harlequin Title Tune, and it was requested by unknown user. Thank you for that. Yeah, and Lala made it clear for me what kind of deck, and yeah, the deck is what I've used to call terrors because my lack of vocabulary. But yeah, I don't know what is the difference between terrors and deck. But yeah, actually we have been talking about building one or a second one also to the side of our house, which is right there behind you. It's like I said, the house was like let's say 3 years old when we moved in, and I built one deck to the front side of the house like a year or two later, where we had the barbecue place and some couch and a small table. But now we have been thinking that it would be nice to get another one on the north or west, let's say northwest side of the house, because the evening sun gets there nicely. And it's always also shorter way to our kitchen, so maybe move the grill there, and also it's next to sauna, so you could go there to get some fresh air during getting the sauna. But yeah, took some pictures actually this week, and gonna put them to the cat and spend some time in the future, in the cold and dark winter, to build the dream about the next summer, or if not the next one, then maybe the 2020. Yeah, 27 is the following year. Let's see. Googling things and didn't line up anything yet. Okay, yeah. Let's play one of my selection. And of course, Turrican is like the most common Amiga remix subject. So let's play Turrican 2 intro by Byproduct. Turrican to intro Byproduct remix. Yeah, I did one purchase last week. Yeah, I finally got myself a Commodore 128. I hadn't even touched one before. Yeah, it was kind of cheap. Well, okay price. Condition unknown. So, like it means that it doesn't work and the SID chip is removed. But yeah, I kind of expected that. Opened the 128 and first it looked quite well, quite good. Nothing immediately jumped to view. But yeah, of course I noticed that there's no SID around. Then tried to boot that up, but black screen. But I got to finally used my oscilloscope for something like real debugging. So went through the clocks and data bus and address bus, and everything seemed to be alive. So I know that there's not. Well, I thought that maybe some custom chip is burned or something. But then I noticed that the ROM sockets were mainly green, where there should be like metal shining. So yeah, took the ROMs out and tested them in my Prommer, and they didn't read okay. So I had to clean the pins of the ROM chips quite much before I got the reading work properly, and then they did verify okay. So next step, I took the sockets away from the board and soldered new ones. Yeah, there are also the couple of the Logic 74 LS Logic chips in that left corner, which had also quite corroded legs. Yeah, then when I connected it to the TV, I got some garbage from the screen. Yeah, that I think. So it was promising, and then took out the diagnosis cartridge, and it got to the VDC RAM test and failed there. So thought that I need to buy some RAM and change that. So I continued with that today. But let's continue the story after the next request, which is Lord Evil's request for Cleaner Brown and 7 Gates of Jambala. Glyn Brown and the Seven Gates of Jambala, and it was requested by Lord Evil. Thank you. So yeah, about the 128, did some reading and found out that the VDC RAM is next to the VDC chip, and that's the later 128s, like the D and DCR, actually have 64K of the RAM, and the flat one does only have 16K. And I found out that the memory chips that are used in that similar to the ones that are in the C64s, I think the short boards. So I happen to have those. So today I took out a VDC RAM and replaced that with the 60K, 32K chips. And what do you know, when installing the diagnosis cartridge, it started to work. And of course I don't have the harness, so I get much errors for different things, but it seemed okay. Then I removed the test cartridge and booted, and got the screen with the green border and black background, and that was it. So yeah, something else wrong, I thought, and then figured that maybe I should check the C64 side of the machine, and connected the keyboard, and yeah, the C64 side was working fine. Then tried back the 128 mode, still just a border and empty background. And I took some photos of that and sent to my friends, and it was like 20 minutes later I was watching the sent photos, and I started looking at the keyboard at that, hey, I have there's one button pressed, and I checked that, and yeah, it was the 4080 column switch, and I read that that's the default state with the video output. So yeah, came back here and switched back to the 40 column mode, and yeah, the machine is working fine. Or I think I haven't tested it thoroughly yet, but it seems that it's working fine. So that was a nice surprise. Well, so that besides the missing SID chip, there is no, at least nothing bigger wrong with that. So and yeah, during this week I was asking from my friend that, do you happen to own working 128, so I could test some chips there, that where is the problem, and found out that he has actually another two 128s, and another one isn't working, so might to get work with that also in the future. But yeah, let's go back to music. We have a unknown requester, and the request is for Peter Clarke's Space Harrier. So let's play that next.
Welcome to the fantasy zone. Get ready.
Welcome to the fantasy zone.
Space Harrier by Peter Clarke, who was sadly passed away in end of July. Some Amiga news. I think it was this week that it was announced that Settlers 2 for AGA Amigas is going to be released in October 18th. I remember that date well because it's the day after my birthday, so might get that for myself for birthday present. But I really do like the Settlers games. Played much the first one on Amiga and then also on PC, and Settlers 2 was played also a lot with by me and my friends on PC back then. Took like the my PC to my friend's house and joined them. I think, I don't remember, was it serial game or like network connection back then, but yeah, interesting to see. I do have the 060 HA Amiga, so it should run okay, I think, because the minimum requirements for the Amiga version is 040 processor, and yeah, it's officially licensed by Ubisoft, so great. Yeah, one thing about the 128 still, I realized that well, the last my show was about Happy Birthday Amiga, because the Amiga 1000 was released in 1985, but also the 128 was actually released in 1985, so happy birthday to that also. Next up, I'm gonna play Physical Presence Spatial mix by FabriceGP. Physical Presence Spatial mix by FabriceGP. And yeah, if you have in mind a Amiga track you would like to hear, or a game or demo of which music you would like to hear, a request from Slated.radio/Discord. No, sorry, Slated.radio/request, and join the Discord chat from Slated.radio/Discord like Lord Evil did. So nice to get some new faces or names to the chat. And yeah, it's 10:30 here in Finland, so I think it's time to play demo. And this time I have a shorter one. It's actually from the Assembly 2025, so it's pretty new. And it's 8K intro by Depth and Zymosis called Sigil of Valhalla. So let's see if we can play that. Let's do that. Yeah. Let's see if it wants to play. Yep, that was 8K intro from Assembly 2025 by Depth and Zymosis called Sigil of Valhalla. Crowd guys commenting about the Sellers 2 requirements, and yeah, it's kind of odd to have the so high requirements for Amiga game, but then there has been like few of those, so takes some money to get the hardware to the required levels, but I've been when I upgraded for last time, I did have also the Blizzard 1230 Mark IV earlier, but when I rebuilt the casing for 1200, I was thinking that should I upgrade also the turbo card. Then thought that okay, this might be the hopefully the final build for that machine. So I'm gonna go with that Terrible Fire 1260. And yeah, I've been happy with that. So like the Amiga edition of Outrun that came like a month ago. I've been really liking playing that also. So yeah, nice games. Let's play another demo music. So this is Occ-San-Geen from Uncle 500 album by Firefox. Occ-San-Geen from Encore 500 album by Firefox. No? Was it? Already forgot. Yeah, it was. Yeah, about the Amiga Turbo Cards. Before buying the Terrible 1260, I was thinking about the what is it called? The one with the Raspberry Pi in it. Okay, Blackout. Yeah, but anyway, Pi something? Pi Storm? Pi Storm. Yeah. I think it's way cheaper than the Terrible 5 with a full 060 RC. But yeah, everyone has their own preference how to what is fast Amiga, how to make it hobby. And I was thinking that I don't want to put a Raspberry Pi in my Amiga, so I want to keep it like so that it's something that you could have owned back then in the 90s. So therefore I went with the 060. I've got this much hardware that wasn't there at the time, like DVD player and what else I like to have? Yeah, well, like Cortex and so on, but it's like making the things easier for you to not play with the real discs with disk errors and so on. And some prefer the CRTs, but I'm fine with the HDMIs and LCD screens. That's good for me, but I do understand those that want to keep it real, like with the monitors and so on. But yeah, it's also nice that there is new hardware coming still in the 30 years after the Amiga. Commodore went bankrupt and so on. Yeah, let's go back to the requests. Next one is requested by FS, and it's Amok's X Out Highscore mix. checks out Highscore by Amok, and it was requested by FS. Yeah, I'm gonna play some new Amiga remixes that were recently released on amigaremix.com, and which I haven't played yet. As part of the reasoning when I started to do these shows was that I want to highlight some new Amiga remixes so that the Roti Awards voting would be more active also on Amiga side. So I think let's see. Yeah, this ShockWave by 7DD9 was released by end of July, and now I'm doing great radio by mixing things up here. Okay, I think I got it right now. So yeah, 789 and ShockWave. Let's see if it plays. ShockWave by 79. And yeah, what was it? Let's see. Habby was asking on Discord. Well, actually, I think it's it's bridged to Discord. So, anybody know an IRC channel for TIC80? And I was like, T80? No, what is it? I had to Google, and yeah, it's I hadn't heard this TIC80, tiny computer, fancy computer for making, playing, and sharing tiny games. And yeah, it looks really fun. Open source project on GitHub. I have to check that out later, but the first looks are nice. And let's play next request. I have something to do while it's playing, so yeah, the requester is Urlaubsvertretung. I don't speak German, so sorry for that. I had to check out what that means, and it was holiday replacement. So yeah, and the request is Silkworm / Turrican mashup by Tony Fluke Wiren. It's from 4-bit Live 2022. And do I have that lined up? Yes, I do. So let's play that. Tony Fluke, Wiren, Silkworm / Turrican mashup, Bit Live 2022, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it is. Was. And it was requested by, let's try it again, Urlaubs Vertung, which means vacation stand-in. FS knew what it meant. Surprising. I'm thinking, shall I play something from Amiga? But let's play first latest release in the Amiga remix.com, and it's a Monday Vision Factor 1 by TNT. TNT and Monday Vision Factory 1. And it was the latest release currently from AmigaRemix.com and was released on 8th of August. And there is 2 remixes in the queue, so we will get something new to play soon. And the next show might be a bit different. We were talking with Slagon this week because I went through my old notes for the shows, which I've been doing since I got the idea for doing these shows. So I was thinking some themed shows what could be done. So we have something in the queue for the next one. I'm not sure yet if it's 2 weeks from now or what, but I need to do some backup, no, not backup, but background research. And by the way, I got this nice mouse mat from Amiga Garage in all Finland during the last vacation days when when I was with my daughters in our summer cottage and came back to home, stopped in Oulu where the Amiga Garage reseller is located. So thank you, Tapio, for the mouse mat. Let's try to play next request. I haven't played much requests from YouTube, but I think I have that properly lined up now. And that's LFF and Zifop phone by I don't remember the guy's name. LFT Crew. I don't remember his real name. I have watched many of his videos, but not recently. So yeah, let's look how this works. Okay, let's try. That was LFF by Luftgrill. and the video almost played like I hoped. Just that it was like stamped sized in the windows. Have to check that out for the fix that for the next show. Okay, I have a request for Amiga mod from Mystic Demo. So let's try to play that from the real Amiga hardware. And yeah, it's request by Tiffy. So reflection by XTD. But yeah, I need to do something before we start. Nope. Okay. You can listen to my typing for a brief moment while I need to do one thing. So, yeah, there we go. Now it should be playable. So I need to just that and let me find the thing there. Okay, yeah. So reflection by XTD, if I remember correctly the name. Okay. Yeah, and that was a reflection by XTD, and it was from Mystic Demo Dirt. If I remember reading the request correctly, and it was requested by Tiff. Thank you for that. Yeah, we have 15 minutes left, so I think I have enough tracks to play till the end. Next one is request from unknown user, and it's let me make sure that it's lined up. Yep, and it's Fast Loaders playing Turrican 2 Drops from Back in Time Live 2018, and it's featuring the man himself, Chris Hulsbeck. Turrican 2 Drops featuring Chris Hulsbeck by Fast Loaders back in time live 2018. Oh yeah, getting tired here, so not much talking. So let's just play the next track, and I lined up Pinball Illusions intro, Pau Kala's remake of that. Pinball Illusions intro by Valhalla. So yeah, getting close to the end. We have 2 tracks left. First of those 2 is by Michael Gibbs, and the title is Cold Runner from Past to Present, and this was also a remix that I really listened for the first time last week and liked it very much. So let's play that.
Welcome to Cold Runner.
Michael Gibbs, Cold Runner from Past to Present. And yeah, we have one track left, and it's time to go bed and get ready to work tomorrow. So 7 hours, maybe 8 hours till that moment. And yeah, like I said, next show will be probably a bit different with a theme, and we have to sync with Harlequin, so we're gonna do that same theme for both of the shows. But let's see if it's 2 weeks ahead or 3. I think it depends on my schedule. We might pop up still to the summer cottage, or maybe not, but let's see. But before that, remember to listen to Harlequin on Thursday, and before that, there's a show on Buzz Radio tomorrow by Matt Ricardo, and Cactus should be back on Tuesday, and Buzz with the Hump Show on Wednesday. So yeah, I think that's all for this time, and we're gonna end the show with remix by Proton again, second from him I think today, and title is Rogue Craft. So have a nice week and see you next time. Bye.